just
Hello all. It looks like we're having some problems. Robert's connection is a little finicky. We're just trying to figure that out. And this is the first time I've gone live from my side without his assistance, so this may or may not be working. No, it appears to be working. So our plan tonight at Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures was to talk a little bit about camping with your children or young adults, or brats in my case. And we felt that this would be a good topic of conversation based on the fact that I'm actually going to start doing it, or we've been doing this for years, but we have a big trip planned in Keji. And coincidentally, this week, today actually, a father and daughter, very similar to our ages, got lost and were found safe. And they appear, by all articles, were well equipped and did have a mishap, which involved them being stuck out there for a number of days. I think they were supposed to be back on the 30th and only got back today, so 3-4 days later than they expected to. So what we want to kind of talk about right away is a little bit of our trip. And Skylar, you're pretty excited about this trip, are you not?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
And you're going to do it with your own kayak?
Yeah.
And you're going to sleep in your own hammock?
Yeah.
You're going to carry your own bags?
Yeah.
Are you going to Portage to kayak all by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you're pretty excited with that. That's a big deal for you? And is this your first trip?
No.
No. No. You went last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
How long have we gone last year?
Like 2 or 3 days.
3 days, yeah. 2 nights. Yeah, so Robert's still working on this. He's restarting his computer, so he may or may not glitch in shortly. If that happens, we'll figure that out. So anyways, yeah, we were talking about this guy. I mean, he went with a 9-year-old daughter, very similar to my own. They left at Milford House. Robert's in the comments section if anyone wants to ask him any questions. I guess that's how we'll communicate for a few minutes. But he left through Milford House, was taking a trip down the Mersey River, right in through Keji, I believe was the plan. And even though I'm in search and rescue, I got no inside knowledge on this or anything. I wasn't involved in this particular search. But I did receive a call. It appears that they didn't come out on the time they were supposed to. They called the authorities, someone did for him, and they started searching. And they were found separately. They were found separately and a day apart. He was found today, I think around 10 o'clock in the morning, and she was found yesterday somewhere around 1:30. And the details of how they got separated aren't exactly clear, but it appears they swamped their boat at some point, and that there was a couple of campsites, and they did recover all their equipment, or some of their equipment, a couple of camping sites, and their canoe. That was abandoned when they found it. And it sounds like he was trying to seek help and left her in a secure situation. What I hope doesn't come out of this is people start blaming people and saying, oh, he did this wrong or he did that wrong. We weren't in his situation. We don't know what they did or why decisions were made. I'm impressed that anyone who can take those challenges and give their children the opportunity to do things like this, great experiences. I know my daughters have loved the trips we've taken. I have 3 daughters, and I've taken all of them on similar type trips, Skylar being my oldest. And some of our first trips were smaller, simpler trips. We did one in Keji where we just went to one of the first islands from Keji Beach, I believe. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was easy.
It was easy, yeah. And what happened with the frog?
It jumped up on Kiva's face.
Yeah. So we found a frog and it jumped on your face. We did some exploring. We hit some strong winds and stuff. Okay, yeah. You got another viewer. Yeah. So what's your favorite part of trips like that?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
There's got to be more to it than that, though.
Everything.
Everything. You just love getting out in the woods, do you?
And doing all the things. Paddling. Hiking.
Yeah.
Getting in my hammock.
Getting your hammock.
Getting in my hammock.
Do you get afraid at night? No.
I don't wake up at night.
You don't wake up at night. You go in your hammock.
Sleep all the way.
Yeah.
Until it's morning time. And then I wake up. And then we either have a paddle. And then I'm happy.
Do you like making fires? Do you help gather all the firewood? Do you help set up your own hammock?
No.
No. Are you going to this year? This year you're going to set up your own hammock?
Nope.
Who's going to set it up?
You.
Me.
And Mommy.
And Mom.
And I'm just gonna watch you and laugh at you and be
So
upset.
we've got a question. What would your daughter recommend taking for kids wanting to go out into the woods with their parents?
I don't know.
You have almost a full set, don't you? You have almost every piece of equipment you could need.
Yeah.
You've got a backpack that you like using.
Yeah, I like that.
You do your Fox 40. You got a Hennessy hammock.
Yeah.
You've got your own pocket, your own belt knife, actually.
Yeah.
And I think I got in trouble last week because you didn't have it at the cabin.
Yeah. I don't want to do it.
And you came down today and made me fish it out so you could go pack it.
Yeah.
So you would not have your knife.
Yeah, I need it. I need it to survive. Else I will die.
You won't die.
Yeah, well, I'll die of boredom.
Is there any toys or anything that you think needs to be taken in the woods?
Nope.
You can make everything you need. How about a fishing rod? Did you enjoy fishing last year? There's no fishing this year.
I liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But you're gonna be okay not fishing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just like an extra thing.
Do you need a phone when you're in the woods?
Maybe. If
Right.
someone gets hurt, then you need to call someone.
You don't need it to play games or anything. There's plenty to do. Keep you busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run around the woods, explore.
Yeah. I remember last time we went, we were sitting in the, it was early in the morning, I was laying in my hammock, and I heard the most god-awful racket, like someone dragging tin cans down the trail. It was just this racket, and it kept getting closer and closer and louder and louder. You remember that sound?
No.
And then all the birds came out of the woods, like hundreds of them.
Oh yeah, I remember. It was just like all across the water. It was that weird sound.
Yeah, it was just this clanking and clacking and almost
like-
grinding noises.
Yeah.
I never quite heard anything quite like
I
that.
was like waking up, so I was half asleep, so I didn't really hear it that much.
Do your friends talk about wanting to go doing trips like this?
Not really.
No? Do you talk to your friends about it?
Yeah.
Do they say that they would do it or wouldn't do it? Do they give you any reasons or thoughts?
Well, when I told my friend, she wasn't really up to talking at the moment,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know.
No.
For some reason, she was sad.
Oh. Okay.
So when I was talking about it, she didn't really say anything. She just nodded and shook her head.
So do you think it's important for the kids or for young people going to have all their own stuff so they can feel independent and feel like it's much their trip as it is everyone else's?
Maybe, yeah. I like having my own supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having to carry it all in my bum and on my back.
I know we dragged your kayak quite a bit last time, but you did drag it down a couple of trails, didn't you?
I dragged it down the boardwalk one.
Yeah.
By myself. I would not let you help me.
No.
You kept saying that I should have help, but then I just did it on my own. I said I didn't want your help. I wanted to do it all for myself.
That's a good job.
And then I dragged it down the whole boardwalk.
So would you recommend that other parents take kids your age?
Yeah.
for trips like this?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And you can't pick out one thing that's your favorite. Overall, the trip is fun all around for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't wait. I know you can't wait. You keep talking about this trip all the time.
I just want the summer to be over.
You want your summer to be over? Then school will start.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna go camping.
We'll get some other small trips in the meantime.
I wanna go camping. Let's go. Let's go. Right now.
You can't go right now. I would love to go right now.
No, I can't. I'm gonna just leave.
No, my boss will fire me.
No.
If I fail to show up to work tomorrow, my boss will say, "That is not a good job, Mr. Green."
And over there, you have to take me camping.
What skills have you taught your daughter so she could survive if you ever get separated? So there's a good question. And that's your mother asking that question.
Mommy, she should know.
Yeah. So you've been
You
to...
taught me how to make a fire.
We taught you how to make a fire. Did we teach you that if we did get separated, what do we do? We try and stay in the same spot, don't we?
Yeah.
Because having two of
Like
us
that.
looking for each other, we could go in circles for a long time, couldn't we?
Yeah, that place said that you hug a tree.
Yeah, the Hugger Tree program. Yeah, you did that at the first Bushcraft. That was...
Hug a tree one.
Yeah.
And then you just like hug the tree until like 5 million hours later. They finally come together.
And if you're in the woods and you hear someone call out, what do you do?
I don't know.
I am so much trouble. You call back, don't you?
He was like, oh my god.
You don't hide. You don't be real quiet. You got to make sure people can hear you.
We're like, I'm here.
And Mom, I can hear Mom up there saying, "What? You don't know what to do?"
She's like, what?
So they also asked if we like tents or hammocks better.
Hammocks.
Hammocks, yeah. I think we all prefer our hammocks. Kiva kind of likes the tent, but she loves her hammock too. She slept in her hammock twice last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the hammock better because I don't have to sleep on rocks.
No pokey rocks, no roots.
Bumps, like, and then you like roll down the whole tent.
Daddy slid down a whole hill one time.
In your tent?
Out of my tent. Well, it was kind of like a tarp.
Oh.
And the air mattress was kind of slippery, and my sleeping bag was kind of slippery, and I was on a hill, and I went right into the bottom of the hill.
That's funny. That's so funny. If I was there, I would be laughing so much. I would be like, what the heck?
Well, the funny thing is I thought something had happened, so I jumped up, and it was actually a military exercise, so I had a rifle with me, and I jumped up with my rifle and thought maybe someone was coming on our, even though it was an exercise, someone was coming on our location, so I got ready to defend it, and there was nothing around and nobody there,
like,
so
oh,
I was like,
okay.
I'll just jump back into my shelter, and I turned around and there was no shelter. So then I spent 5 minutes looking for my shelter, which was halfway up the hill.
There's a fly right there.
So
Go away.
if we got separated, what do you think we would do? You think I would come looking for you?
Maybe.
If we got caught in danger, if something happened and our canoe got damaged, do you think we'd try to make it out separate?
No.
No. Most likely we would try not. We would not. We can't really make that decision until we know the full situation. It might come to the point where somebody would have to go with the other. What if
I don't know.
What if Daddy was injured and couldn't walk? And we knew that help was not far away. You could reach it. You could see, or maybe you could see a tower you could walk to. We may have that may be a decision that you would walk to the tower and see if you could get help.
And say that my dad is injured.
Yeah.
They gotta come help me.
Yeah. That's a possibility. We would hope that something like that would never happen, right?
When is he gonna come? Is he gonna
I
come?
don't know. We may not be able to do it with him today. Unfortunately, it sounds like his internet connections are not working very good.
So he has to reconnect it and be so funny.
Well, and Facebook has some issues. You have anything else you'd like to add? So just an update. It's 100% my internet for some reason. See? So Robert's internet is not working.
Oh, so your internet is just like...
So we have fine internet right now.
And he's like...
Well, maybe a line's down. Or
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
he's got a
it's
bad...
Someone's right up to that.
He's blaming Eastland. So that's something we'll have to work on. So what we have talked about, though, is we are going to a very similar area as that father and daughter were in. Now, they were outside the park trying to get in, and we're going to go inside the park and do the southernmost lakes.
Yeah.
I think I posted on Facebook a little while ago the trip that we're planning on taking. It's 26 plus kilometers in total, almost 11 kilometers or something of portages in 3 days, and I think we're hitting over 10 lakes. And it's a similar trip, but bigger than what me and Uncle Nick did last year. And we're not sleeping in a cabin. So,
I know that.
so if you had a friend who wanted to take a trip like this and she had to buy one item new, what would you recommend she get? One item that she should really get for a trip like this. Is it hard to narrow it down just one? Could you say what are the top 3 items you'd want to get?
In a boat. Because obviously. And like
So a boat that's well fitted for them? Like we try to get you to use a relatively small boat so that it's easier for you to handle, right?
yeah. How about that fits them?
Yeah.
And a paddle. And like
Well, we can consider that all together. If you get in a boat, you'll have
all the accessories.
Yeah, you'll have to have your paddle and your life jacket. That's all sort of part and parcel.
Do you
of
get
that.
bored when you're out in the woods?
Do you get bored? No, you don't get
No,
bored.
I don't get bored at all.
You might get silly.
Yeah. Never.
Yes, this is one of our watchers, Priscilla.
Yeah.
He likes to come on. I think he's from Newfoundland.
He's
Hi, Chris.
Never.
We're just talking about our father-daughter camping trips or our family camping trips where we take our kids. Sky's telling us how much she loves it. She never gets bored. She looks forward to it. How about a good backpack? Do you think a good backpack's important for a trip
Yeah.
like that?
And you need a lighter. Because you need to stay warm.
Good way of starting a fire, yeah.
You need a lighter, like matches or like fire starter or some sort.
Yeah, we've shown you how to use like these fire steels, right?
Yeah. Like you just do it really hard, really fast.
And
We were
lighters.
practicing that last year.
Yeah.
In Landon. We were practicing that.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, we were practicing it.
And you also practiced catching fish.
Yeah, and he wouldn't take it off the rod. We
No.
took it off for him.
Yeah. And you practiced. Well, you did a lot of paddling. You both did a lot of paddling. And you guys would paddle up. You were braver than us in some spots. You'd paddle up the rocks and stuff and jump off your boat and climb up the rock and fish from the rock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that place. We like.
Chris, we're opposites. I grew up in Newfoundland. Now I live in Hants County. I like Hants County, but I do miss home. It's never the same. I would love to get back to Newfoundland for a good family camping trip, like a backwoods trip.
Yeah, more dependable than the lighter oar matches.
We tend to take a few methods. I almost always have a Bic lighter. I have the ferro rod. I have one of those the forever matches. I think there's a bunch of them over there, which is kind of like a small ferro rod that takes kerosene.
Knife safety. He said knife safety.
Yeah, so all my girls get knives at quite a young age, and they generally get cut at quite a young age, usually learning knife safety. And the first time I think Sky got cut, she got a little tiny scar on her knuckle there. She put it down, she turned right white, and she walked away. I had to chase her down. She didn't even want to say anything.
You should have stayed on the rock.
If only there was more work on the rock. Right? But you're pretty safe with a knife now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know what you can do and you can't?
I got cut once.
Yeah. And sometimes you tell Daddy when you're doing stuff that you don't think safe. When I was cutting wood over the weekend, I was using
Kiva said that.
Oh, Kiva pointed it.
Yeah. They're the only methods. Ferro rod and flint steel.
So where do you get your flint, Chris? I've gotten quartz, and I found a couple of small pieces of cherry. Well, it's a big piece, but I've only found one or two in Nova Scotia that really worked well. I do have an awesome steel here, and I've made a few out of files that work pretty good.
Thank you. Get on my side now.
Yeah, so I was raised at quite a young age in the woods with a lot with my father and stuff. So I also always had I don't remember not owning a pocket knife. I don't remember much before.
You had a pocket knife when you were like a baby?
I was pretty small. Some of my earliest memories, I have a knife. Some of my earliest memories.
Why don't I have a pocket knife?
You have a belt knife. It's worse. Do you want a folding pocket knife?
Yes.
I think I gave you one. You have one before, a little old timer.
You kept it.
No, I think you lost it.
No, you kept it. You took it from me every time.
I don't know where it's now.
You lost my folding knife.
Well, it's probably in that pile of knives over there.
Well, that's great.
Ah, you got one sent to him. You got some planned.
Hello.
Do you make your own fresh water in the woods?
Nope.
You make me do it with the Sawyer Mini, don't you?
And Mommy does it most of the time, though. She just goes down.
I don't know. I think I probably do as much as she does or more.
She does more.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Troy Miller's here, eh? Yeah.
5?
We have 5 viewers.
Wow!
What did I tell you about being silly?
To do it all the time.
I'm pretty sure I've never said that.
Be silly all the time, Skylar. That's the exact
I agree, Chris. I'm actually a little disappointed at how much now it's frowned upon to carry a small pocket knife. I don't think I ever didn't have a pocket knife in school. I think it was always something in my pocket. I think now if you were to send your child to school with a pocket knife in their pocket, you could very well have them suspended or expelled.
Yep, you probably get expelled.
Right?
For having a weapon.
But I don't consider a pocket knife a weapon.
A weapon, then.
Yeah. This is not an Essie striker. This is actually made by a fellow bushcrafter here in Nova Scotia. It's Peter Lepac, I think is his name. You can see his symbol here. He he made these and he sold them. I can't remember the exact price, but I've had it for quite a while and I enjoy it.
A piece of fire.
He's got a little divot in there for like a bow drill bearing block. He's got one side that's right sharp. It's great for scraping fine shavings and stuff.
What does the sharp say?
Easy for kids to steal. And a
I
rounder
didn't
edge
steal anything.
that works perfect for striking a good spark.
You took my toy away.
So one of the things we've given you guys in the past to keep you guys entertained and having fun is a camera. Do you think that's a good idea for kids?
Yeah. So that you can take your
Wanna come back in?
You took my toy though.
So with the camera, what'd you do? You guys would...
Looks like a pretty nice striker.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. So yeah, something like a camera is really fun. You can take lots of photos and stuff, and you can go around exploring.
And be like, I took a picture of Daddy. That's so rare.
Rare to get a picture of Daddy.
Ah! Why are you pressing the screen? It's making everyone. You want to show off your hand?
And it's North Rural.
You're just like.
Yeah, you're still.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So we're gonna make a kayak cart this year for you, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to pull your own kayak.
Yep.
And we're taking a bigger kayak this time. You're taking
Yeah.
an 8-foot kayak.
Yeah, I'm taking my bigger one. My red one.
Think that's gonna be harder?
Nope.
No?
You said it will be easier for me.
I think it'll paddle straighter. I think it'll be easier to paddle than the 6 feet ones.
I like it better.
Yeah.
Because it's bigger.
Oh yeah, Chris, send any pictures you have. We love seeing anything outdoors. We're always looking for new things to take. One of the big disappointments we've recently had is I think me and the wife had convinced ourselves to buy a drone so we could get some awesome pictures of us on kayaks and doing trips, and found out that it's pretty well illegal to take a drone into national parks, which is a huge disappointment to us.
You can still buy a drone.
I could, but unfortunately some of the places we'd most like to get pictures would be more difficult.
Why?
But we have some great pictures and stuff from each other's kayaks and stuff we've taken over the years, taken with phones and
Yeah.
a waterproof camera.
Yeah.
And
The waterproof camera.
we have the action cameras. We may start trying to take these and sticking them on. I think we've got a mount, one of your kayaks, don't we? We have a tool for that.
I know that.
But I could just glue it to your head.
You want to bring this in your head? You laughed me with the book earlier.
We got a wilderness guide.
And yes.
Yeah, she has a...
I'm going to see
I think it's a Sun Dolphin kayak that's 8 feet long, and she has a Solo. The little ones, you can see them at Costco,
Ew.
Canadian Tire. They're awesome little fun kayaks, but they...
Not fun. They're gross.
Not gross.
Because the bugs go like right on your head.
But they do wiggle a lot when you paddle them, don't they?
Yeah.
And now me and Daddy, we have 12-foot, I think they're Sun Dolphin Arubas. Sit on top ones. They're pretty fun too. Have you ever tried to paddle those?
Well, on the river one though, you had to like
You
down. Mommy fell out.
You took one down to the little tiny river. It was supposed to portage around it, and we found we could just squeeze down it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I used mine, and then I was scared to do it, but then I did Mommy's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Mommy fell out of her boat earlier.
Can you imagine doing it on the stand-up and paddle?
No, I'm not doing that.
What?
Never. I would fall off and whack my head on a rock.
Well, it's possible. Why don't we just go across the lake? We could just tie your backpack to it, and you could just paddle it across the lake. It's only 35 pounds. It weighs
Until I
less.
fall off, and then my backpack's wet.
Oh, we got dry bags. Are dry bags a good thing to have? I think they're pretty
Yes,
good.
because then put my backpack in the dry bag.
Yeah.
And then fasten it on, and then I'll like.
He said we could add a small skag to your.
To my kayak, it'll keep it straight.
Got an 18-inch trout on his.
Wow, that's a big.
I don't think I've caught one from the kayak yet. I've definitely tried fishing from it, but I usually catch them from the shore.
Yeah. I caught a catfish.
Now we're pretty sure it's perch we're catching at our cabin.
Yep. I got a catfish at catching.
Now 18 inches, Chris. That's almost the same as the 5 fish I caught with Robert the other weekend. If you added them all together, we probably had about 18 inches of fish.
Wow.
Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Probably 6-7 inches is probably the average, or the largest one. And the smaller ones are probably 4.5 to 5.5.
The fire Robert.
Sorry, Troy. No, Robert's still part of the Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures, a very important part, but his internet's not working.
Did you fire Robert?
So I think he's watching and chiming in from the background, but he can't actually transmit very well. It's very restrictive. He's got minimal frequency or bandwidth, so he's struggling. I know it's hard on him.
But we're solo.
Yeah, he's here in spirit.
We have large trout here. Working off my phone.
Your Uncle David's watching.
How is he?
Okay, he's listening.
Okay.
Be nice.
Abandoned the home internet altogether.
Yeah, so Chris, I only fished a couple of times on the Avalon. Oh yes, well Robert might be able to get access to that from his phone and flick it up there. Oh no, he can't. I'm in charge here now. And I'm not a great navigator of how to run this thing. I spent most of my time fishing in Red Indian Lake area and Hines Lake, and in around the area of Buckens. So I don't know if you've ever been out that way, Chris, but it's awesome fishing back there. Yeah. Robert usually does all the editing. He does the lion's share of this work some of the time, most of the time, if not all the time. And he tends. I just Skype in and talk and make a fool of myself, and he tries to keep it all together. So
now he will just stop in and fool.
Now he can just pick and make fun. So yeah. So what we're really talking about though is like taking kids.
Hey, that's mean.
Yeah. In camping, I mean we've. Yeah, I think.
Very nice fish.
Yeah. You were probably what, 5 or 6 the first time we took you kayak camping?
Yeah, probably.
And her sister would have been even younger, maybe like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was 6, she would have been 4. If I was 5, she would have been.
Probably about 4. And I think.
I was 6.
Yeah.
So I was
'cause
like just.
I think Mom was pregnant for Kenzie that first trip that we took.
Oh yeah, because she was throwing up. She threw up in the bushes. Remember?
Yeah, Dave, I'm alone again. Robert's here. He's chiming in where he can, but he's having internet problems.
Alone again. Thank you, sir.
So Robert can flick those up onto our page. I know it won't affect this broadcast if he gets a chance, or we'll do this after when we get some bandwidth figured out. But it was really good, I think, getting you out at a young age, so you get used to that, and you don't have apprehensions and fears that I think some people would have if they didn't get to do this till they were much older.
I don't be scared.
Sure can.
I would just be like, the woods! I'd be like, oopsies. Sorry. I better go in the woods now.
Do you like seeing all the animals in the woods?
Yeah.
The birds, the fishes.
The birds.
We have ducks that come right up to our cabin, don't we?
Yeah, they come to our cabin and then they just like sit there.
And even at our cabin, we got the beaver that swims right by.
Yeah.
The ABA, the Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures.
Yes, fishermen are camping to catch me.
5 and 3 years old.
Okay, 5 and 3.
Yeah, so you guys weren't very old at all. And that was a lot of fun. And you guys...
And Mommy threw up on the bushes. Because she was sick.
She had morning sickness, yes.
Yeah,
I'm
sometimes.
sure that's exactly what she wants us to keep talking about.
Yeah, it's awesome to talk about, Mommy, right? Everyone loves talking about that.
You're a nut.
You're a walnut.
So, what foods do you like taking?
Walnuts.
Well, what else? Do we take marshmallows?
Yeah. For the campfire. And hot dogs.
Yes, Troy, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. They did find both of them safe and sound. They were separated. We're not 100% sure of the reason for separating, but it sounded, in one of the articles, I think, indicated he went for help. And it sounded like, I think someone said that she was found wrapped in her sleeping bag. So she was sort of set up at camp. She was warm and comfortable. They're both healthy. So that's...
Very healthy.
That is awesome news. It is great news. We're very excited.
That's
I think as a
okay.
whole community that they made it out fine, and
Yeah.
impressed. And I think one of the things we really want to talk about this is, I mean, this is a trip very
She was
similar
in
to
there
one
for
that
like a couple of days.
Yeah.
In her sleeping bag.
they were supposed to be out. I think on the 30th. So I don't know when they separated. They may have only separated a few.
Must have been.
Yeah, she might have been scared alone.
Probably. I
Yeah.
would be just alone in my sleeping bag for like a million years. Well, he went for help.
But we're planning a very similar trip to Keji. We're going to do the Southern Lakes now. Now there's pictures are up. We're doing it as a bigger group. It won't be just the two of us. We have done smaller trips, me and you, and we'll definitely do other trips, me and you. And I'll do trips with my other daughters.
Only me.
We even
Only
did
me and my walnuts.
we did a trip with some bushcrafters in January, didn't we?
What?
Did we do a camping trip in January?
I don't know.
You don't remember camping in the hammock in the winter?
Oh yes, I remember that. I was cold outside of my sleeping bag.
Yeah, but you're
Out
nice.
of my 4 sleeping bags. 4 sleeping bags. That's a lot of sleeping bags.
It's a lot of sleeping bags. But it's important for you
All
to
at
be.
once.
It was important for us to be comfortable.
And warm. Not like all night.
Well, when you were out and I was setting everything up, you complained quite a bit that you were cold. And you ended up going down in Andrew DeAtter's
Camp thingy.
camp thing, yeah.
And it was a fire in there, and he hung up my boots to get them all warm inside because my feet were cold.
Yeah.
He like put a couple nails in the walls and put like boots there.
So we had a great trip though, wasn't it?
Tore them up, and then I sat in the chair just like that. Yeah, I like that.
And if I asked you to do another trip in the winter like that, would you do it? Uh-oh.
Probably, yeah.
One of our lights died. We're getting duller and duller. I feel like the other one's going too.
I feel like it's going to go any minute, and then it's going to be dark, and we're like, okay.
We'll go yellow. When those go out, we start to go very yellow cast under these lights that are down here. We'll look like the Simpsons.
Like yellow. You're yellow right now.
Yeah, well,
I'm
you're
yellow.
white.
I know.
You almost glow like a little sunshine.
I'm the sun.
I'd almost like to go try that trip to Mersey River. Would you do that with me?
What trip?
The one that that other couple, the father and daughter were doing.
Oh. Maybe.
Maybe. Sure. What kind of trip would you like to do? You could any camping trip. What would you want to do?
What we're doing.
What we're doing in the fall. That's your favorite? Some hiking, some paddling.
Yeah, I want to do
Portages.
both. I don't just want to be walking and walking and walking and walking, or paddling and paddling and paddling and paddling. I want to go. What would you do if you had a mishap, such as crashing your canoe on a multi-day trip? What would you have to do?
I think our
I don't know.
Alaska. Oh crap! Chris got a good answer. I'd love to do Alaska.
No. That's far away.
Yeah.
Far away. Just for a camping trip? We're gonna go like, all around the world. Just for one camping trip.
We could pick up Uncle Nick.
I was like, hey, let's go.
Uncle Nick's up in Fort Mac. He'd gladly go to Alaska with us.
Yeah, we just like, land.
So your mother asked us a question. If we had a mishap, so if me and you were going down the
I
river.
know, I read that. I just read that.
So if we were going down the river and something happened and our canoe stopped being able to work, we punctured it or we damaged it, what would we do?
We would fix it.
We might try to fix it. We'd definitely take a stock of everything we have and see if it could be fixed. If it could be fixed, we'd make a decision of whether we're going to try and hike out or if we're going to wait for help. But if we wait for help, we know it could be, what, a couple of days before anyone comes to see us.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they would not notice we're missing.
Well, they wouldn't know we're missing until we don't come out. Unless, of course, the cell phones worked. If we had our cell phone, I usually have my cell phone. And
I bring a phone normally, just like...
you have a phone. And we have like things like this so we can charge our phones. So we could attempt to make the call.
Things like that I have no clue what it is.
This is a solar panel that charges cell phones.
Okay.
So we have equipment. We have... Right?
Yeah.
Well, someone said if we have Gorilla Tape, we could potentially fix it with that. Yeah. But it all depends. I mean, you never know what you're going to do until you're in the situation. We can come up with all kinds of theories and plans.
Yeah, like a million things.
Yeah. The big thing for us would be to stay safe and warm.
Yeah, because we don't want cold and be like, and then we'll be like,
I've spent a lot of time trying to learn how to survive in the woods. I think I could go 4 or 5 days out there quite comfortably, and I think we could be quite comfortable. If we
more
had
than
to.
we expected we would have to.
Yeah.
Because if we're expecting to stay out there for a couple of like days, obviously you couldn't survive because you're gonna bring all the supplies for that.
we could try and catch food, but we also almost always take way too much food.
Yeah, and then we bring home like, ugh, too much food.
But you never know, like, especially a trip like we're doing, we could get in there, and the winds could be really bad, and we could be locked to the beach. We may not be able to get off. Yeah, agreed, Chris. I said I'm a member of Search and Rescue, and they teach us a lot of the stuff there. But I've also been a member of the reserves, infantry, and I learned a fair bit of survival there. But before all that was just growing up in the woods with my father, and I don't panic anymore. When I was real little, I did panic a couple of times in the woods.
Why?
Our camping buddy's on.
Oh, yay!
Um,
Panicking. Oh my gosh.
I was at a cabin one time, and I had to use the washroom, and I walked into the woods and had a pee, and when I turned around, I couldn't see the cabin, and I couldn't remember which direction it was, and I started to panic, and I started to yell, and Dad had to come get me.
Where was it? Was it a little bit away?
I was only about 25 feet from the cabin.
And you couldn't see it?
The alders were that tight and that dense that when I turned around, it was the same thing everywhere I looked. It was just alders, and I couldn't figure out which way it was, and I figured I was walking the wrong way, so I screamed out for help. And my father made such fun of me that I made sure that whenever I walked in the woods after that, I took good bearing of where I was to, which way I went, and what was behind me. And someone used to say one time, or a guy I've talked to now, he says, when you're going somewhere, always look back, because when you have to come back, that trail is going to look totally different from the opposite direction. So keep an eye on what's behind you as much as what's in front of you. As you're walking, keep looking behind you every now and then so you can remember the trail.
I got lost running my snare line once I was younger. It's a scary situation to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't take much, and it's usually in a moment of when you let your guard down or you get a little cocky and you're like, I know what I'm doing, I'm not going to really pay attention, and the next thing you turn around, or
Right.
well, you could be fishing. Fishing's a great example, right? You're walking up a river or something, or maybe you hear something in the woods or something, you go check, or maybe you say, I need to get some worms, you'll start picking up flipping rocks, the next thing you know,
You don't know where you are.
yeah, you turn around and you can't see anything, you can't hear the river or anything, and you're like, I don't know which way to go, and then you start to panic. And a lot of people, when they panic, will do the exact opposite thing, and they should, and they'll start going in a direction they think is right, and they send themselves further away.
Yeah.
So like Chris said, if you need to take...
I didn't know where I was exactly, where I knew the major landmarks.
Yeah, so if you know like a mountain, or if you know, like, a lot of people look at towers, like the radio towers or stuff, you can see those, especially at night.
Oh yeah, because it's like a red flashing light.
Where I grew up,
At the
there's a couple of
cabin, you can
mountains
see
that
it.
you could see most of the time, like Notch Mountain and Ski Hill and things like that, and if you could pick out those. And there wasn't too many places you couldn't see some of the lakes if you climbed up high. So it didn't take long to find something you recognized. Or power lines. Power lines will almost always get you somewhere. Well,
Power lines. Like,
if you go in the woods, there's transmission lines, big power lines going from one spot, one town to the next, or one place to the next. If you follow that, you'll almost always end up on a road or in a town, or at least to a substation. And those substations would have roads to them so you can get out from there. If you follow a river, it'll always lead to at least a lake or the ocean. You keep going in one direction, you'll eventually find your way out.
yeah.
I always take a compass. I usually have a GPS. The phone has a GPS built in. So finding our way out wouldn't be too hard. It's the trek itself could be quite hard, especially if you're canoeing in.
What?
So luckily in Newfoundland, mostly bog and barren land. Climb a hill and you can see for kilometers. And there's a lot of hills in Newfoundland. It's not hard to find a hill or a
It's
valley.
like it's all flat ground and everything's the same.
Well, here is flatter than Newfoundland, but I've been in the prairies where everything's flat. You have to look for a hill.
You be like, oh, hill, where is it?
Anyways, I think we've talked for a while, and without Robert's constant banter back and forth, we've kind of exhausted this conversation right now. But you enjoy your camping trips. You looking
Yeah.
forward to this trip?
Yes, I'm very looking forward. I want to go, right? Let's go. Let's go.
Uh-oh, what was that? Yeah, sorry, I just got a message. Yeah, so we'll probably wrap this up. I mean, this was episode 18, first one I've had to do kind of solo with the help of my daughter Skylar. I really enjoy it. I'm sure she'll love to be on another one sometime in the future.
Where his internet does work.
Yeah, but we'll definitely do one after our trip. Anyways, we'll bring you back and you can talk about the trip and things you enjoy and things you did and things you learned and things you'd love to show other people.
Show you guys.
Yeah, and maybe what I'll do is I'll give you a camera to play with while we're camping.
Sorry, I couldn't do more.
Oh, that's okay, Robert. I've left you in the lurch a couple of times, so I deserve it. And you can do your own little report on the trip that we can post on our page. Does that sound fun?
My own, or it's just me?
Well, not like a
Well, I like the
podcast, but you could do a video. Like you can take some pictures and some videos with a phone and cameras,
And
and
my own video of the whole trip.
we can post it on our site. Does that sound fun?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. Okay, well, good night. I hope everyone enjoys it. We're extremely glad that the father and daughter out in Keji made it out safe and sound. I hope this doesn't scare them. I hope they continue to do adventures like that. I think it's awesome to hear fathers and daughters getting to do trips like that. I hope that any of our viewers that do similar trips feel good enough to share their experiences and stuff and anything that they've enjoyed or done or learned. Like I said, we equip our daughters with almost the same. You can go, Sky.
Okay, bye.
With almost the same equipment that we ourselves have. So me and my wife have very similar equipment as our daughter, and we try to give them smaller, lighter stuff so they have to carry less. And of course, their clothes and stuff is much lighter.
Wait.
Oh, I'm going to get told.
Bye-bye. I need my cup, too.
She forgot her water. Yeah, I agree, Robert. I hope they learn a lot from it and get to do it again. And if any chance they ever run across this, maybe they can chime in, talk to us. I mean, I think we'd love to hear their story and maybe more. I don't know. But I hope everyone has a great time. I know summer's coming up here. We may... good night, Robert. I'll try and contact you in a few minutes. We may miss a week or two here or there between vacations and stuff, or do some other things. We're going to figure all that out. But I'll see you guys next week for sure, and we'll be talking about some other things. Yeah, Robert says he'd love to hear from you guys. So anything you guys have to say or contribute, this is a community channel. We're trying to build this up and get people interested in talking and hear what's going on. So please feel free to share, like Chris sharing his pictures of his fishing and his kayaking and stuff. And maybe someday, if luck has it, we'll get to meet up with Chris. Anyways, good night all, and best of luck in your adventures. do I stop this?